Hey everybody, welcome to Surface Level, creating a community where Black and queer folks are fearless in thought and curious at heart. I'm one of your hosts, Tony, and today, Jordan, Damon, and I are discussing the cost of classism. Are we really responsible for being our brother's keeper? Does our personal economic status limit who we can have romantic relationships with? This is the Upper Echelon. All right. This one here, we're going to talk about the cost of classism. You know what that means in society.
Yeah.
It's giving different levels to what people have and what they don't have.
Right.
And so before we get into the depths of the conversation, let's start out how we normally do. So I want to play a fun game of high-low. But it's not what you're thinking.
I don't want to know where this is going.
It's going. Let's play a fun game of high-low, and I'm talking about priority levels, and what you designate as high priority versus low priority for your upper echelon lifestyle.
Okay.
So, do you want to be able to order groceries to your domicile or be able to order laundry service? And then you can only have one, and which one fits? What's a high priority for you and what's low? Groceries or laundry service?
Groceries are more important to have delivered.
Okay.
Laundry service, I can figure that out on my own, but groceries, I just can't carry all that stuff around New York City. So I prefer it to be delivered.
Okay.
You ever walked around with a 48 pack of bottled water?
I'm not walking around with, I don't need
Why are you
48
buying bottled
waters at once.
You are killing the
person.
sea turtles.
Huh?
You need to be using glasses.
Oh no, it's just water, I think.
Child.
Cartons.
I'm one. It's not
I said bottled water. Now it's cartons.
It was a slip of the
one
tongue.
person. How about you, Damon? Laundry service, wash and fold, cleaners, all that stuff versus groceries.
Well, I can't see that.
You can only choose one for your upper echelon lifestyle.
Well, what I'm saying is that I can't dry clean things on my own.
Okay. Well, which one is it going to be?
What's your answer?
I guess the laundry service.
That's the one you would choose.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, the grocery store is not that far, and I'm not carrying 48 bottles of water. The laundry service is more priority for me. All right, let's go to the next one. Be able to take Ubers regularly or be able to fly Comfort Plus every time you travel?
Uber. Yeah.
Why? Quickly.
Okay. So when I'm flying, when I'm flying, I don't know. Like I go to sleep immediately when I get on the plane. So that extra little 2 inches of legroom space doesn't really
Right.
Yeah.
It's not really going on for me.
Talking about putting me in one of them little pods where you lay me out. That's
now,
a different discussion.
If I'm in Delta One, that's a huge difference.
Now, for me, I think I would say Uber as well because that's like every day. But I do know some people that are like, I only want to fly to be able to get on priority, like in that first wave, because I'm concerned about my carry-on actually being carry-on and not having to be checked. And people are real particular about that.
I don't check luggage.
Girl, check the bag. Who wants to be lugging around all of that work in the middle of the airport?
I don't check.
Let somebody else handle it.
No, I don't check luggage.
All right, let's go to the next one. Have a maid come to your house once a month or skip the line to every event you attend.
Skip the line.
Skip the line. I can clean my own
I don't do
apartment.
lines.
Y'all clean girls?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I know some girls might want to skip the line, but they need to have that maid.
No, get the maid. Trust me. You deserve it.
All right. Have a personal chef or be able to eat out at the best restaurants in town regularly.
Eat out at the best restaurants in town regularly. I love an experience and I love ambiance and I just like, the choreography of a really, really nice restaurant.
The choreography.
Right.
It's
When they bring out the entree and they're explaining it and then they stage out the food. And especially if you go to a place that's
Upper echelon.
Right. Like Momofuku Co.
She
it's
like
a
11 Madison
moment,
Park having dinner every night.
I can understand that. How about you, Damon?
A chef. I like to be in my own space.
Yeah.
I prefer not being outside.
I would say a personal chef too, because then I'll have my food for me and I'll have food for like when I have guests. So that's how I'm thinking about that.
I would like for you to have food when you have guests too.
I would too. And that's why I always get you to come and cook it.
Except and here lies the
Mom be
problem.
right in that kitchen tossing that salad.
Ooh,
You toss that salad, baby.
Damon always makes the salads.
y'all are disgusting.
All right, last one. Have designer clothes and basic shoe wear, or designer shoes and basic retail clothing?
Designer shoes.
Oh, we're all on the same page with that. My aunt said, listen, you don't pay for clothes, you pay for your shoes and your purses. So,
I don't believe in a poorly made shoe. That hurts.
yeah, it really does.
Can be messing up them arches.
Ooh, okay, flat feet.
Yeah, if you have flat, especially if you have flat feet.
I'm
Like the
flat-footed.
arch is already non-existent. So.
Okay, so today's episode is focused on upperly mobile Black people, essentially, and how your life can change and how your interactions with the community can change as you do become more successful. So we're going to start with a little historical context with the girls that were fighting back in the day during the Civil Rights Movement, Dubois and Booker T. Washington.
Oh, ciao.
And if anybody, we're giving the cliff notes here today, but you should read some of these old things. They were going at it, like not cute at all.
They were rivals, right?
Yeah. So Dubois obviously introduced the concept of the talented 10th,
Right.
and the idea that the most successful, highly educated, etc., African Americans needed to help along the other 90% of our race. Booker T. Washington was focused on economic success and pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and learning a trade, so on and so forth, and getting it done. Which team are you all, Dubois or Washington? And do you think that there's some level of responsibility for you to do things outside of yourself in the community? Jordan.
So to answer your first question, I think I lean more into Dubois. I do think that it's a responsibility. I believe in socialism. I believe that people who should do for others around them. But there are parts of Booker T. Washington's philosophy that I do agree with. I do think that everyone should show some effort. Like, it's frustrating for me when I'm trying to help someone and they are showing no initiative. Like, that's the quickest way for me to just sort of be like, okay, girl, well, I'm going to go over to this person who actually is showing some initiative and actually wants to make a change. And to answer your second question about the responsibility, I do feel like it's a responsibility. And I think that it manifests in different ways for different people. I think that some people can go out and they can volunteer at a shelter. I think that some people can go out and they can donate to their local school district or their hometown school district. Some people may choose to mentor. But I do think that it's a responsibility for Black people specifically, because the community is marginalized and because a lot of our people aren't exposed to certain opportunities to give back and to make sure that as we achieve this success, we are, looking back and pulling people forward. And it's not a truly individualistic experience where you're just like, okay, well, I made it, so where's the party at?
Right.
Like, I don't think that's cool.
Tony.
Where's the party? It's always interesting to me when people stand like 10 toes down on their stance on one side versus the other and can't see some compromise in between. Because for me, like, both schools of thoughts have valid, aspects to them. And I'm one that thinks it's important to be a person who shares information freely, and especially within our community, the Black and queer community. And I personally would like to see everyone win, and I think you get there by sharing what you know. And I think that becomes like the problem when people want to just have information and sit on it.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? Who is that serving, and why are you being selfish in that way? And when you think about what other races are doing, when you think about what white folks do, or when you think about different communities, when you think about the Jewish community, when you think about the Asian community, when you think about how their dollars are spent, and it goes back to serving their communities, I think we need to wake up and get on board and realize, buy Black, share information, share what you know with who you know, and that way we can all move as a people.
Yeah.
And it'll serve us greater in that way. So,
Yeah.
Damon, what do you think?
Well, I've always been kind of team Du Bois. I've liked his philosophy, read The Souls of Black Folks, done that whole thing. But as I've thought a lot more about kind of elitism in that sentiment, like for me, I think what would serve us more as a community is not to purely think that the most educated and the most traditionally corporate successful people, if we want to take it into the 21st century, are the talented 10th. I think
Yeah.
that their success can be defined in so many different ways that is not just those traditional avenues, that even people who are in, like people like us that may have gone to have a 4-year degree, work in corporate America and so on, live in a major city, sometimes look down on the person that may have started a plumbing business or learned a
Right.
trade as if that isn't as successful as they are.
Right.
And I think that we need to have more connectivity between different types of people doing things that are successful in different ways.
Right.
And I think that to me is the main thing that I think differently about that concept a bit more than when I was first introduced to it some years ago. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, hard work pays off, and like it's when you get that information. Like knowledge is power, only if you use the knowledge that you receive. And I think when you have that knowledge and when it's shared with you, you got to do your part. Like Jordan was saying, you've got to reinvest in yourself. And I also love what Jordan said about like showing interest. And if I give you this information, what are you going to do with it? Like now that I've given it to you, go and run and
Right.
do the damn thing.
And one thing that I actually want to like vent about a little bit is sort
Let
of
it out.
like the this is something that's been really frustrating me as well. But like as people, and I'm speaking specifically within corporate settings because that's the world that I live in and that we live in. But like Black people who have achieved a certain level of corporate success and obviously going through a lot of hardships and crossing a lot of obstacles and thinking that the generation behind them have to
Right.
do the same thing in order to earn
Stop
their
hazing
right to be
people.
there. I'm just like, everyone should have the privilege of being able to live a life with less struggle. And this is why we are sort of taking the brunt of, what's going on in corporate America. The generation before us had to deal with much worse. You know
Well,
what I mean?
because back in my day,
Right.
when I was
Well,
coming
I
up,
had
I
to-
didn't have. I had to do this, that, and the third. It's like, girl,
You think we just gonna hand this promotion to you? No, but like, why are you making it more difficult so that I can earn it in your eyes because you had to work that hard in the 70s? It's just like it really, really
Went
bothers
back
me.
50 years.
But seriously, it's so frustrating. But like, I just wanted to get that out, and in the spirit, like, just making a little pivot in the spirit of Notorious B.I.G. Our community has sort of rallied around this idea of more money, more problems, right? And as we grow professionally within our careers, and as we have more disposable income and are experiencing a different lifestyle than maybe we were before having our careers, what are some of the like negative or unwanted factors that play a part in your newfound lifestyle or I guess socio-economical class, Tony?
so some, because this is gonna give the girls a lot.
Okay, well, let me brace myself.
No, because it's really three things that I'm just gonna try and boil it down to.
It is going to be a lot.
But it's like, it's one that I have the funds to be able to do everything, including going to the opening of an envelope. Like everyone wants you at this, that, and the third. And it's like, wait a minute now.
Yeah.
I've got to prioritize. And just because I'm working and you think like, oh, you make money, like you could do this. Like, no, girl, I make money. And if I want to maintain and live and get somewhere, I've got to, sort of save some of that
You
money.
gotta be
and have
judicious,
seats.
right.
The second thing is that I can make everyone's group trip. Like I can't. Everyone, I like trips are fun. Group trips are fun, and
Not that fun.
I can't make anybody's group trip.
listen, I've been on a couple. Like I've been on actually, I think maybe one or two that I was pleasantly surprised with, and like made some friends afterwards. But don't get in the habit of just being like, oh, we're going to. It's like no,
No, baby.
Like, please, and don't get upset and don't feel like I don't want to be a friend if I decide that I'm not down, I'm not coming. And then the last thing is that if I don't have plans, that you can book my day and spend that time with me. It's like I don't like that expectation of, you know, you trying to claim my time and feel like you want to hang out. And so if I'm not doing something that you can take ownership of that or lean in, it's not that heavy for you, most likely.
Yeah.
The girls that I want to spend time with are the girls that hear from me regularly.
Yeah.
And then if there are people that I do want to spend time, like, I don't mind, you know, an occasional moment, but there are people that really, they try to pencil themselves in.
It's more like a pen. It's not a pencil. It's very bold.
No, it's magic eraser. It's like you thought you bitch, you thought.
So those are a couple things that really grind my gears. How about you, Damon?
No, I was just thinking about just mentally how you feel like, oh, you have so much to lose. So sometimes you get like a little more conservative than you would be. And I hate that. And I was thinking, like when you would take me to like a circuit party for the first time, and I was just like, oh, this is fun. It feels free. It's like, I like this energy.
Yes.
And then I was just like, it felt like I had to go to this place to escape this thing because I was concerned that somebody would see me somewhere. I'm like,
Correct.
That annoyed the shit out of me. And because I like freedom, y'all know that.
Who felt that? Who felt like that?
I felt that.
Oh,
way.
you felt
yeah,
that.
So
not in like with you all or like with generally
Right.
with our friends, but like there's just this stigma around like partying or sexuality, and then like
I didn't know, but I didn't
Yeah.
know that you felt that way because you have always struck me as a bitch.
I mean, I
that,
try to be like, well, fuck it, but like
Yeah.
there's just like that level of freedom
yeah.
is the thing that like I would enjoy more of, but like does that really exist in that many places? Like that was the reason I liked it so much.
Right, because it does get a little foo-foo shishi sometimes.
It gets very
and
foo-foo shishi
It's just
everywhere.
like, oh, you do that?
Exactly.
Like, we don't do that.
Right.
We do
Right.
the Hamptons on the weekends.
Right.
We
Just
don't do
like-
that.
I'm just
And
like,
but I
girl,
think-
sometimes you want to get in the gutter.
Sometimes you wanna get together. And I do think that as a people, I've been seeing more liberation in terms of what people are allowing themselves to do. Like
Girls
every
are
year,
liberated.
yeah, the girls are very liberated.
Girls are extremely
Very liberated.
Yeah.
How about are you liberated, Jordan?
I am liberated, but not as much.
Still conservative,
Still conservative.
liberated with a twist.
Okay,
Liberated
liberated,
with
but
a
not. No, I think that, you know, the issue that I have is very similar to Tony, and I feel like I've talked about this so many times on the podcast. It's just people's entitlement to my money and to my time.
True.
And I actually had a friend who, funny story, we talk about this still to this day, and it happened like 5 years ago. They decided to make plans for their birthday a week before they won, like before it's supposed to happen. And it was like hundreds of dollars to participate. It was an activity. And I said no. I said I can't go. And the friend had the nerve to say, I know how much money you make, because I made the mistake of telling them what my compensation was. They was like, I know how much money you make and you're trying to ruin my birthday. And I was just like, if you think that I have a discretionary fund for whenever the fuck you think you want to have something for your birthday, you are sadly mistaken. And I just, you know, that's the frustration. It's just that socializing has just become so expensive, it's specifically in New York. And people take personal offense when you have other financial goals that you want to reach and that you can't work in people's last minute plans, or even if they are in advance and you just deem them as not a priority.
Yeah.
That's really frustrating. And it's like, I've been trying to get better with just being like, you know what, we don't need to do a dinner. I did that with a friend who came into town last weekend, actually. And they were just like, you want to go to brunch? And I was just like, no. I was like, but we can go out to the gym and then maybe get a salad afterwards and catch up. And it was like, oh, I heard the first episode of this season. You're on a budget. I was like,
Good.
yeah, I have a social budget.
But listen, it also becomes a thing where if they see you doing other things, you know, that becomes like their part of their argument of like,
Yeah.
and it's like, wait a minute, like just because I do this doesn't mean that I like X and Y are two different things. And
People don't get that. it's just like I can want a luxury experience and be able to treat myself. You know, you don't know how long I was saving to be able to take myself on a nice trip. A lot of times when I'm going on trips, like I'm saving and I'm planning to get out at least 6 months in advance. And it's just like, no, so I don't want to go to Catch with you. It's too expensive.
Catch ain't that good.
It's a $50 shot.
Right.
That really,
But
that really-
also,
that
it's
really
like,
messed me
why
up.
am I don't want to have this conversation either.
I don't have
Yeah.
the conversation.
I'm not trying to be talking
Ever.
to you about why I am saying no. Or unless it's like sometimes you do get to a place where if you're constantly like turning down things and if you're not offering up alternatives, it becomes something different that maybe you guys need to talk about as whatever
Right.
relationship you
Right.
you guys
It's
have,
like-
because it's not always friends. Some people think that they're a lot closer to you or the individual than they might be. But that even that doesn't warrant a conversation. I don't need to sit down and tell you like we ain't those girls. We're not Judy's.
But you do.
Do I?
I've
Well,
been-
Lisa Rinna said,
Tony,
she said
I
we are
have
party
been-
friends.
I've been somewhere. Tony was like, but that was when we weren't like friends. And the person said, I thought we. No, Tony said, no.
Wait, somebody said that?
You said that.
No, I said that.
Someone.
Tony tells everybody that they're not
They're
his
not.
friend.
Oh yeah, I'm real like 'cause
I admire that.
People say like friend this and friend that, and I'm
Sometimes-
very much like
Sometimes you just have really pleasant like interactions with people when you're out and about, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I have the mental capacity or the space in my life to actually nurture a real one-to-one relationship with you.
Yeah.
And it's not always personal. Sometimes it's just like, girl, I need to unplug and not be all up in your face trying to get to know you, asking you your favorite color. We don't have time for all that.
Now the girls with 2 episodes ago hollering about platonic friends. Don't nobody want to be my friend.
Well, no.
Now they don't want no friends.
because no,
I do.
when you find the one or two, like you have to, you can't just go out and say like I'm gonna make 5 friends. Like
Sounds so
I
overwhelming.
barely have 5 friends.
right, because when you put in the time to actually get to know someone and spend proper time, like along with everything else you already have going on, that's a commitment. That's work.
It is.
That
It takes work. It does. It does, especially in this
Well,
environment.
as we, again, for the 16,000th time talking about dating this season,
Well,
do economic factors or how much money someone does or does not make play a role into you being able to see yourself with them? Jordan.
Yes. And
it's honesty hour.
Honestly,
it is. I mean, no, it is. I mean, so I'm going to give 2 examples. The first example is me dating somebody who has I guess, more extravagant lifestyle than I did. And I think dating them, I was kind of insecure about dating them because I felt like our dates had to be a certain caliber for them to enjoy it. And I don't even think it was more so like they wouldn't do anything else. I just think that was just their way of life and their expectation. And I really wanted to be able to like, blend into their life as opposed to creating boundaries around it. And I didn't really feel comfortable, telling them like, look, I don't want to spend this much money. Like, let's figure out something cheaper. And I actually told a friend, I was like, you know what? I really like this person, but I think I need to make more money to date them. And that's a real situation that I had. On the contrast, I've dated someone who's been hypercritical about my lifestyle and calling me bougie and making a comment about everything. So like if we're out to eat, it's just like, you just got to get the sparkling water, don't you? And it's just like, girl, I just wanted the sparkling water. Like it's like $4.
It's my taste.
And it's, and that was, an impediment to us getting closer together, because then I felt like, okay, like I can't even be myself because I feel like you think I'm standoffish. So I now have to like take away all the things that I enjoy in my life to be able to be approachable to you. So I find that like finding someone who's like nearby my lifestyle is just more comfortable and more just easy flowing. So yeah, I think it does play a part in my experiences.
But are those things a function of how much money the person makes or the person?
It's the
like,
person.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
one of the people sounds insecure, and the other one sounds like maybe you avoiding tough conversations with a person more so than
I think it's the person, and I think it's their approach to their lifestyle. Honestly, it's because when I actually think about it, and when I think about the two different people, it was just a different approach to life. It wasn't that they had like a huge discrepancy, and there wasn't a huge wage gap between the two. It was just one was just like accustomed to a certain lifestyle, came from a certain family, and just was used to just sort of like living their day to day a certain way, and another person was used to like not having as much. So even if they were making this type of money, they just thought that the things that I was doing was kind of frivolous. So yeah, I don't think it's all like a direct link to like how much you earn. I think it's more so like your relationship with money. Yeah.
Tony.
Well, you know what? Let's talk about money.
Oh, here we go.
Let's talk about money for a second.
What did the census say?
My sisters know me so well. So, according to the census, they did a study. It's called "When the Rainbow Is Not Enough." The queer voices in the 2019 Black census. Get your life.
Okay.
So the study showed that more than any other issue, more people were likely to identify money and wages being the biggest problem that the community faces.
Yeah.
As it relates to, dating, I can see the parallels, or I can draw the connection between like where people feel a little bit insecure about dating someone who makes more money. And you feel like you're not adequate enough. And that to me is kind of along the lines of what Jordan was saying in terms of, being insecure, and like it goes both ways. You can be criticized for like you're bougie, or you can be like, I don't make enough money to date this person. And then the other thing is like, for me, although love can come from anywhere, and I do believe that it doesn't like how much money you're making is separate from like being able to fall in love or love someone. But I am not trying to take care of anyone. And that's just the truth.
Neither am I.
Unless I truly had it like that. Like if I was balling out of control, I could be daddy.
Absolutely.
Daddy. I could be daddy. And I would love to take care of
Take care of me.
I would listen, if I had it like that and I really love someone, like that would be.
This season of Surf Level is sponsored by Tony.
That would be quite amazing. But in the same breath, I also welcome someone who has, higher income to come take me up out the ghetto. So I welcome that too. But yeah, it's in terms of my own experience with dating people who make more or less. Like I've done both, and it's I think you have to figure it out between you and that person and how you guys navigate it. It's a very specific and individual experience, and the individuals involved can work through those things if you're mature. Otherwise, it's very fragile. Egos get in the way, and just like that. And just like that.
I can't wait for it to come out. When I think about relationships a lot, I always think about my parents' marriage, and not that I want in any way to have the type of relationship they had, because that's not what I do. But I've always my father never ever made more money than my mother. But my father always worked his ass off in their 40-plus year relationship. And the 50-50 thing, checking every box, necessarily isn't like something that's important to me. I think that people bring different things to relationships. I think financially it's one part of it, but I think kind of to a point Jordan was making earlier, it's about effort and work you're putting in. Like someone that's working hard, even if they don't make a lot of money, or someone that is a kind, humble person and wants to engage outside of just like what we're doing, where we're going, how much it costs.
Right.
Like that to me is what's most important. So like, I don't really give a shit about money. And I think what you said something smart earlier, it's just like, what is your relationship to it? Like if you're just super fucking obsessed with money, or you just don't give a fuck and you're spending like a psycho bitch, like neither of those things are a turn on to me, but I think it's all individual, and I'm just figuring it out a day at a time. And
yeah. Listen, money, 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 money.
You better go off. No, I mean, even when you think about the divorce rates, like when you think about the reasons why divorces happen, a lot of times it's about money.
Mm-hmm. That is one of the things, right?
Yeah, like it's a huge component. And I think that, what I'm trying to do moving forward is less about sort of like, you need to make this much money, and more so like your relationship with money.
Yeah.
Like, are you responsible with money?
Oh my God.
Like, are you frivolous with money?
Whew.
Are you trying to spend my money?
Okay, listen.
Because Karen Huger don't got tax issues. Okay.
Well, you know what? Listen,
Ray has tax
speaking of
issues.
money and divorce issues, and this is a whole topic for another episode, but that's why I got divorced. So,
And that's all the time we
And actually, no, I think that is a perfect segue, because that is all the time that we have this week. This season of Surface Level is produced in partnership with W.E.B, Mobilizing Our Brothers Initiative. If you enjoyed this episode, let's keep the conversation going. Let us know your thoughts and questions at surfacelevelpodcast.com. And remember, stay curious.